Thanks, everyone. Before we get started, I want to give the LEC a little bit of grief for really dropping the ball today on a missed opportunity. I don't know how often the Lake Committee overlaps with opening day for baseball here in America. The presenters should have been able to pick a walkout song like the closers. I don't know. Mike, maybe you have time to pick one before you walk down here for Yellow Perch. Yeah, we don't take ourselves too seriously here. I'm Matt Faust. I'm the co-chair of the Walleye Task Group. My Canadian co-chair, Mike Thorne, is somewhere. There he is, somewhere in the audience right in front of me. This presentation is the culmination of a whole lot of work over the last year, both in the field collecting data, and then once those data are collected, to summarize those and run models and lots of different stuff. So I'm up here standing on the shoulders of all of those other folks around the lake who, like myself, have helped collect the data over the past year. So thank you, everyone. Most of you are in the room. Roadmap for today's presentation, we're going to start by chatting a bit about our recommended allowable harvest for walleye this year. We did implement some changes over the last year that impact the recommended allowable harvest, so I'll briefly chat about that and then follow it up with sort of the death by time series plots that everyone comes to expect with our estimated adult abundance, recruitment, and then fishery performance at the end. And then, like the other presentations so far, this is a state of the lake year. And so I have those summary plots kind of sprinkled throughout the presentation because walleye, we have a number of really nice performance metrics that come right from the current walleye management plan. So when I have those up there, I have some figures that will talk to the state of walleye in Lake Erie over the last 5 years. So with that, we'll jump into the recommended allowable harvest for this year. What is recommended allowable harvest? This is tied directly to how many fish can be safely removed from the population in any given year without jeopardizing the sustainability of the fishery into the future. And we use harvest control rules to help us determine that number. That sort of paints the lines on the road for the LEC to consider. And our harvest control rule is composed of a number of different components, but mainly target reference point and the limit reference point. So the target reference point you can think of as when things are good, how hard you want to fish the population in any given year. And the limit reference point is related to the numbers or the biomass of fish in the system, that when things are above that limit reference point, you're fishing it at that target reference point. But as the population goes down in abundance or biomass, you would start to ratchet back how hard you fish it to keep fish in the system, not over harvest. And so over the last 5 or 6 years, both the Walleye Task Group and the LEC have been noticing a decline in our target fishing mortality rate, so our FMSY. And starting around this time last year, the Walleye Task Group, with a boatload of assistance from the folks at the Quantitative Fisheries Center at Michigan State University, worked to better understand the decline in this fishing mortality rate. And you can see, it's gone down and down and down in recent years. And that has direct implications on the REH, as you'll see. And so we started looking at what might be driving this or involved in this. And it was actually right before the break, continuing to have conversations with Dr. Lisa Chong about other things that we can continue to look at. So I'll find Mike and chat about that coming up. So as we started looking at that, the FMSY is directly related to the stock recruit relationship for Lake Erie. So that means how many walleye are in the lake, how do those fish produce baby walleye? So it's the relationship between adults and young produced. And for fisheries, it's typically quite messy, as you can see here. It's a really pretty figure, or really pretty relationship. But as we were investigating this, we took a detour into how our current or previous stock recruit model was working and how that played into the reference point estimation. We found some issues there where I believe the black line is what we had been using, and now the yellow line is what we are currently using. So we found some issues, we corrected those issues, and I'm intentionally not going into the details here because we talked about this for a number of meetings with the LEC group. If you have not heard of those, or you want to chat more about that with Mike or I or any of the other Walleye Task Group folks that are here, come find us at the break. But we looked into that, we found issues, we fixed those issues, and basically what that led to was the Walleye Task Group making recommendations to the LEC, who made a change to the stock recruit model that's used, and also how the outputs from that model are estimated for the reference points used in our harvest control rule. So what does that mean? Our target reference point for this year was changed. Previously, it was a 60% of FMSY. Our F target for this year, and I think the expectation is that this will remain in place for the short term, potentially until the next walleye management plan, is that 80% of FMSY will be used as that target reference point, and it will be a constant target fishing mortality rate using this year's estimate moving forward. So I mentioned the limit reference points are two components of the harvest control rule. Mentioned the 80% of FMSY, so we estimate FMSY and then dock that now by the 80% to be precautionary. You don't want to fish them right at FMSY because that's estimated with uncertainty. If you're above it, it can lead you into problems. Our limit reference point is 20% of the unfished or virgin spawning stock biomass. So as you approach 20%, or as you get to 20% of that SSB knot, that's when you would want to start ratcheting back further. So not necessarily fishing at that 80% of FMSY. And then our harvest control rule is also a probabilistic control rule, harvest control rule, in that if you fish them at that target reference point, you can project the population forward based on the stock assessment population estimates in the current year, assume that you harvest all of them, and then look at what the spawning stock biomass would be like at this time next year. And if that spawning stock biomass is below the limit reference point of the 20% of the SSB knot, with a greater certainty of, or more than 5%, then you would enact what we call P-star, and you would start to drop down that target fishing mortality rate. And then on top of all of that, other things that I've just described, the LEC implements a TAC constraint. So this is a stability for the, Nick, you don't have to worry about the nose, thanks though. The TAC constraint is the amount that the total allowable catch can vary between years. And so this is a stability thing that's important for our stakeholders. So the amount that it can go up or down between years is limited to plus or minus 20%. Oh, sorry. I was expecting it to jump slides, but so these are the 2026 or estimates using data through 2025 for the F target and limit reference points. So 80% of FMSY equates to a fishing mortality rate of about 0.216. And then the limit reference point for the spawning stock biomass is just under 11 million kilograms. And so not unexpectedly, we are well above that, as you'll see coming up. And so we're not above that 5% risk tolerance. So we're fishing at the target reference point. Excuse me. So for 2026, our mean projected abundance for age 2 plus walleye is just under 58 million fish. And when you um, take the target fishing mortality rate and fish at that, your mean REH is about 8.6 million with a range of just over 7 million up to a maximum of 10.2 million fish. So that's sort of the range that we start with when we're considering this. And then you also have to consider that 20% TAC constraint. So last year's TAC was 11.4 million walleye, and the error bars there plus or minus 20%. And then you look at where the current year's range falls within that overlap, and then that's sort of the range that we provide to the LEC for their consideration. So taking all of that in mind, the RH range for consideration this year was 9.1 to 10.2 million walleye. Okay, now we can get on to some of the status updates for both the population and the fishery. This is our current walleye population estimate. This is coming from a statistical catch at age model. It estimates the number of age 2 plus or age 2 and older walleye in the system going back to the late 70s using commercial and recreational harvest data for the west and central basins, along with a number of fisheries independent surveys collected by the agencies around the lake. In 2025, the estimate for the adult population of the lake was just over 80 million fish. That's down from where it had been previously. And then you project that forward for the next couple of years, and it's still quite high, but down from where it has been in recent years. Looking at that in a little bit more detail, this is just providing a look at the number of H2 fish. So H2 is the number of fish that are entering the fishable population in any given year. And let's see, yeah, the stars on this show the projections for the next couple of years. And so you can see in 2026, the hatch strength from 2024 was low. And so you can see a very small sliver of that bar being black. So the H2 is coming in. It does rebound a bit with a projection for 2027 because the hatch last year was back to strong or moderate. So I'm going to stop here, and this is the first of my take on the state of Lake Erie figures. So the two vertical black lines here indicate the reporting period for this, so 2021 to 2025. The performance metric for this is the spawning stock biomass. We want that to be above the limit reference point so that we're fishing at the target fishing mortality rate. And as you can see, we are well above that. So yeah, we're meeting our objective there. You can see last year it did decline, and then it's projected to go down a bit over the next few years. A new plot for this year, and this was something that came out of several of those presentations with LEPMAG and LEC over the last year, is this population status plot. This is known as a Kobe plot in the fishery circles. It allows you to plot the population biomass, so the spawning stock biomass relative to that limit reference point along the x-axis, and then how many fish or your fishing mortality rate relative to what you're trying to fish them at. And depending on where you fall in these quadrants, you can be not overfished and not overfishing. This is where you want to be, or various shades of you're fishing them too hard, or yeah, you want to be in this lower quadrant here. And so when you look at where we've been over the last 40 years or so, overwhelmingly, especially in recent years, we've been in that lower right quadrant. You can see 2025 is highlighted in red, so smack dab in the middle of that cloud. And we haven't really been outside of that in 25 years. Like, it's been quite a while since we've been in the overfished, but what is it? Overfished? No, I should go back and look. Not overfished, but overfishing. So that's good. Looking at our recruitment results from last year, and this is results from the interagency trawl survey. This is done by Ohio and Ontario during August, and so it's a almost complete snapshot of the Western Basin for young of year. And the population increase over the last 10 years has been fueled by this really big hatches almost every year. I mentioned in 2024 that was down, but it did rebound last year with not impressive in the last 5 years, but over the time series, a very impressive year class. So we can expect to see those fish starting to come in next year. Those were age 0 fish. This is yearling fish. So these are the fish that we'll start to see entering the population this year. So these are fish that were hatched in 2024. That was a low bar as age 0. So again, a low bar as yearlings. So that's not unexpected given what we saw in 2024. Okay, getting now into the fishery performance for the sport and then the commercial fishery. Overall, this is a figure showing the black line is the total allowable catch through time, and then the gray bars are the total number of walleye harvested lake-wide by all of the fisheries combined. Last year, the TAC was about 11.4 million. Lake-wide, we harvested 9.2 million of that 11.4 million TAC, or about 81% of what was available to be harvested. This is a slight decrease, but it remains one of the highest harvests in the last 40 years or so. Looking at a couple of metrics from the sport fishery, this is the total number of walleye harvested by recreational anglers lake-wide. It increased last year from 2024 to a total of 3.8 million walleye. When you look at this in terms of a harvest rate, so this is the number of walleye harvested per hour spent fishing, targeted effort for walleye. And again, this is one of those state of the lake figures. So over the last 5 years, been a steady increase, and we're actually at the highest point in the time series last year for the sport fishery. So the walleye management plan performance metric is about 0.4 fish per hour, and we've been well above that. This is like, we're not kidding when we say that walleye is, or Lake Erie is the walleye capital of the world. Like, I don't think anywhere else comes close to this. And it was almost 1 fish per hour last year, which is impressive. Transitioning now to the commercial fishery side of things, similar story. Things were good. Down a bit from the high a few years ago, but still quite high relative to the time series. Down from 2024, but 5.4 million walleye harvested by the commercial gillnet fishery in Ontario. Most of the harvest occurred in the West Basin, about 49% of that, 5.4 million, followed by the Central Basin at 45%, and then remaining 6% in the Eastern Basin. And then the last of our state of the lake performance metrics, the walleye management plan for the commercial fishery is an annual harvest of at least 4 million pounds. And you can see over that 5 years, we were well above that 4 million pounds. It was relatively stable. It increased, kind of held steady, and then dropped last year. But again, well above what the management plan performance metric has been, and was at 10.8 million pounds last year. When you look at the commercial fishery harvest rate, this is the number of walleye harvested per kilometer of gillnet. Over the last 10 years or so, pretty steady increase, fueled by those string of sizable hatches. And just like the sport fishery, the commercial fishery was at the high in the time series of 437 walleye per kilometer of gillnet. Trying to kind of tie all of that together. So the fish community objective for walleye in Lake Erie is to maintain the walleye population with sustainable levels of adult biomass and fisheries harvest consistent with the walleye management plan. So over the past 5 years, so 2021 to 2024 for our reporting interval, I would say we meet that target well above the fisheries performance metrics and also well above the spawning stock biomass performance level. I would say it's stable across all of those, and we're fairly confident, or we're highly confident in our assessment of that. The Walleye Task Group report will be available online tomorrow after the TAC announcement in the morning. You'll be able to, you can scan that and it'll take you to the Lake Erie Committee's website, or you can search it on your phones and find it tomorrow. Thank you.